Hello, welcome back to the Mobile Motorbike Mechanic channel. I'm Steve. Today you join us on the way to Chipping Norton to go and service a Suzuki GS 500. So we'll see you when we get there. Okay, so here we are with the GS 500 Suzuki. So the customer, he hasn't ridden it for a few years, so he's just asked us to come in and do a full service. So we're going to be doing oil filter, spark plugs, air filter. We're also going to be changing the brake fluid front and back, checking the tyre pressures and just giving it a good sort of once over. Okay, first things first, we'll start it up, get it warmed up, get the oil and filter changed. Whilst that's dripping out, we can get the spark plugs done and the air filter, and then we can look at getting the brake sorted. Comes off, that's good. There, one's under it. Oh, that's going to die. Yeah. Have we got any fuel? Is the fuel turned on? Fuel is on. I think we might be in reserve though. Sounds like it's running on one cylinder, so we'll get our little heat gun. See the temperature of that left cylinder, 150 degrees. Temperature of the right one, a bit lower. Yeah, look, it's only 56. So, not really running on that cylinder. It's starting to come up now. Yeah, so it's not running on both cylinders that tick over. But once you get the revs up, it suddenly ticks up. And considering what the customers told us about it being stood for a few years, it's possible it's got blocked pilot jets in the carbs, which is why it's running a bit badly. Yeah. Well, the choke work. Yeah, all the lights are working. The indicator's working. The indicator's working. The indicator's working. The indicator's working. Yeah, so all the lights are working, everything's there. You see it's very slow on tick over. So I think this right carburettor might be blocked. We'll give it a service, give it back to the customer, he can run it around for a couple of weeks. Might clear itself, but we'll see how we go. Thermometer's a very good idea if you don't want to keep burning your fingers, by the way. Right. Oh, point. Just want to see if it. Out of chain lube. Yep. Ooh. Out of chain loop. This should cut the engine. There you go. It does cut the engine. Good. So the safety switch is working. Yeah, you see that chain? The chain's a bit baggy as well. So we'll address that as well. But good news so far. Oh, just loosen that something up. Obviously with the engine running, we haven't taken the sump, we haven't dropped the oil. I just loosen the sump nut so that it's ready to go once the engine's warm. But we keep an eye on it to make sure that it's not dripping and not leaking everywhere, in case people are wondering. It's actually starting to tick over quite nicely now. Right, let's get this oil dropped. Where's your sumpy plug? There it is. Of course, I bloody dropped it. Always bloody drop it. Oh, there we go. Relatively easy, straightforward little commuter bike, this one. Not a lot to it. I think the worst thing about this is changing the oil filter, because they're not cartridge filter, they're internal filter, which is a bit more of a pain, I suppose you could say. Anyway, whilst that's draining, I'll get a new copper washer on this one. So the filters on these bikes they're not a normal cartridge filter, but they're actually inside the engine. So what we need to do is get this plate off. So this is the plate here. So there's 3 bolts, or 3 nuts I should say. 1, 2, and a third one up there. And as you can see, that's the filter starting to come out now. Now in the side here is a big spring that holds the filter in. And ah, you dick! Just drop that. We will retrieve that in a moment. Exactly what you don't want to do is drop these little acorn nuts, and that's exactly what I've just done. There you go. There's 2. We'll get the third one in a second. Without burning yourself on your exhaust headers there, and hot oil coming out of the engine and everything else, because it's getting really bloody hot. This is. You've got to get this out. There we go. There it is. There's the spring. Oh. So we know one of these nuts is in the oil. What we'll do is we'll replace this O-ring here. And this is the filter in here itself. There we go. There we are. So this is the more sort of traditional style of oil filter. These engines are quite an old design, so a little bit more messy, a little bit more involved. But you can actually see the colour of the oil in here is actually quite clean, so that's pretty good. But I need to go fishing to find a nut. Yeah. Oh well. Let's go fishing with my little magnet. Oh, there he is. This is, like I say, the old oil filter. It's actually looking pretty clean, pretty good. And I'm very happy to see it says HF133 on it, because that's the oil filter we've got to replace it with. So yeah, we're just going to fish this O-ring out of the cover plate here, and then put the new one in. Right, so as usual, our high flow parts. Now, in with the filter, which is a HF133, so same as what we're taking out, which is good. We've also got this little bag of gaskets. So be careful when you open these, you don't want to tear the gasket. You obviously don't want just to tear the bag open. But there'll be a couple of gaskets in there. And you see there's two different shapes. For different manufacturers have different style of gasket. So that's not the one we want. We don't want the wibbly wobbly one. So you can see from the cover plate that ain't going to be the one we want. So we'll pop that in there and get rid of all that. Plonk. So this is the one we want. So we'll just get a pick. You can see somebody's used a bit of sealant or something in there to put the gasket in the past. Don't know if the camera's picking that up or not. There's actually a bit of clear silicone or something like that in there. So there you can see that. So we'll get that, get all that out of there, clean it up. That's the spring I mentioned. So that spring pushes, so the hole goes into the engine. So the spring pushes on the back and then holds that against whatever thing that sits on inside the engine. So what we'll do is we'll get this cleaned up. We'll get all that silicone out of there with the pick. Okay, so now that's clean. We'll get the new gasket. We'll see. Yeah, you see that's not going to sit in there, which is why somebody has siliconed in the previous one. And what we'll do is we'll get some blue Hylamar and we'll temporarily glue it in with blue Hylamar. Right. Let's see if we can get this in here and get it to stay. Let's have a look in here. Okay, so inside the actual cavity itself, it's not looking too bad. Clean around where that seal sits. There we go. And inside there you can see the little spigot that the oil filter actually sits onto. So we'll locate that. There we go. It's on there. So then it's just a question of putting the cover back on again with the spring in place and not dropping any of the nuts in the oil. So the cover can only go on one way around, and that's with sort of like the central bolt to the middle, to the bottom. Right, let's get the spark plugs out. Okay, number one spark plug out, CPR80A9. Looks half decent. Doesn't look too bad, not too black, not too oily. Looking okay. So we'll get that one replaced. Go around the other side and do the other one. Yeah, that's looking a bit white. So if you have a look at the old plug from the other side, you'll see the difference in colour. So that's looking a bit white, a bit too bright, running a bit lean, and so that would that would coincide with what we've seen with it running, you know, or not running very well on this cylinder when we first started it up. So something to be aware of. Fitting the air filter next. So what we're going to need to do is get into the airbox, which is just here underneath the tank. So in order to get those 4 screws out, we just need to take the 2 bolts out, raise the tank a little bit, then we can get into it. Right, so we've got a little block of wood holding the tank up, and what we can do, a little stumpy screwdriver, get in on these screws here. Let's have a look at what state this is in. There we go. It's pretty manky, that is. Oh, that's a K&M filter as well. K&M in the USA. But it's getting replaced with a high flow one. Ta-da! Bit of a difference in colour. But there we go. We're still here with the airbox. Give it a little clean up. Make sure there's no horrendous deposits inside it. I'll just grab a torch. It's all clean in there. Yeah, it's looking all good, all clean. Okay, so new air filter going in. There we go. Don't know if you can see that, but when you put this air filter in, there's a little cutout at the top and the bottom of the air filter. There's a little cutout there. And that's actually to go over there's a rib in the middle of the airbox. So make sure it goes over that rib. Just there. So you can put the air filter in the wrong way around. Right, done. So next we'll get the sump plug back in, get it filled up with oil, fire it up, make sure it's all running. Okay, so filling up the oil, we've got a dipstick on the filler on the old GS. So, it says 2,600 ml. So we'll stick 2.5 litres in it, see where we're at. I bet it's going to take all of this. So as you can see, we bang on the full mark, which is absolutely lovely. So, as always, we'll start the bike up, run it for a few seconds, let it fill the oil filter, and then check it again. We need a key. Let's just see where we're at with this now. Yeah, we're not even on the dipstick now, so we'll just grab a little bottle of oil. I'll just top him off. Yeah, it's right at the bottom. Let me just grab another bottle of oil. So it's the end of the week, so we're using up all of our spare little bits of oil. Just to This engine doesn't take like loads and loads and loads of oil. Yeah, look at that. Bang on the money again. One last dip. Yep, we're happy with that. So. Okay, so we've done the spark plugs, we've done the air filter, we've done the oil filter, and we've done the oil in the engine. So what I'm going to do now is just going to run the bike up, leave it running for a few minutes, and just check for any drips. Shouldn't have any drips, but that's the reason why we'll keep the drip tray there for the time being. So we've got no drips, we're happy that's all done. We'll move on to doing the front and rear brakes. Right, we've just popped the master cylinder reservoir cap off. And if we have a look in here, we can see the colour of that fluid. It's definitely black. So we'll bleed the brakes through, get rid of that lot, and get some new fluid on the go. Right, let's fill up with the new stuff. And as you can see in there now, you can actually see right the way through it. It's nice and clear, nice and clean. So we'll attach our vacuum onto the bleed nipple and start getting it through. Just trying to release any air that's trapped in the master cylinder here by tipping it sideways. Air will travel up into the master cylinder itself. Doesn't feel like there's any air in there. It's very, very good brake. So we'll go again with another load. Yeah, that's coming through pretty clean now. Right, let's just check the fluid level once more, top it up. Ooh, easy tiger. And there you go. That's our fluid replaced, nice and clear. Get our cap back on. There we go. Good brake. Very good brake. Right. That's the front one done. Onto the back. So rear exactly the same as the front. You can see that the condition of the fluid's a little bit yellowy on this one. So if you didn't have a vacuum bleeder like this, you'd just have to keep pumping the brakes all the way until you got all of that fluid out. But luckily we have this, so it makes our job a little bit easier. Right, and now so same again. Right, just check the rear brake, make sure, yep, he's all good. He's working. That's lovely. Right, so we'll check the tyre pressures next. And whilst we're there, we'll check the wheels, check the bearings, etc. So we'll crack on with that next. Right, we've got the bike on the centre stand and supported on a small block of wood. So what we're going to do is we're just going to check for any like massively visible run out. Check the steering head bearings. They're not notchy or anything. There's no play in those. And then we can just check the wheel bearings. They feel fine. Yeah, they're all good. And then we'll just check the tyre pressure. Yeah, a little bit low. About 5 psi lower than it should be, according to Suzuki. Yeah. Here we go. So that's all done on that one. There we go. We'll go to the back. Yeah. Rear's a little bit down as well. Just pop some wind in that one. Let's see where we're at. Bang on the money. Right. The chain next, and then we're finished with this one. Okay, we're just going to adjust the chain. So just need to slacken this one off. There we go. There we go. Now with this bike, we don't have a nut and a lock nut. We've just got the one nut, which looks to be a nylock. So all we're going to do, we just check our alignment with our little alignment tool. Can you see that line on the hand? Look. We're just going to check our alignment. Our alignment is all good. So we just need to, whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. I'm just going to half a turn, check tension, try and find the tight spot. There he is. It's pretty tight. Just get our roller out. Let's see what the tension's like. $65, $35. So we've got about 32 mil of play there. Now, with it doesn't actually say the chain tension on this one. Sometimes it gives you on the swing arm sticker. It doesn't actually say it, but about 30mm is what you want. Now 32mm, I know with Suzuki swing arms, when you tighten the axle up, it does actually tighten the chain a little bit. So I'm going to leave it at 32mm there. We'll tighten that up, we'll see where we're at. So just before we tighten that up, we want to check to make sure it's still aligned correctly. Yep, it is. Right, let's tighten it up. So one last check to see what the tension is. Just, yeah, he's dropped to about 25mm. So like I say, when you do that one up, he does get tighter. So 25mm, that'll do us. 60. Yeah, so we're happy with that. Right. Okay. So we've done the tyres, we've done the bearing check, we've done the tyre check, we've done the wheel check, we've done the chain and sprockets, we've done the oil filter, the spark plugs, the air filter. That's about all we can do on this one. So, yeah. One thing we have noticed is there's a fork seal that's leaking up here on the left hand side, so we'll let the customer know about that. And we know it wasn't running very well when we first came to it. It's starting to clear itself now. I've increased the tick over ever so slightly, which has helped a little bit. But yeah, I think overall pretty good bike. Right then folks, there we have it. So that's another one completed, full service on this one. So remember to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.